Hello everyone. For this tutorial, we are going to create or spice up our web page with a special design. The design is called Neumorphic Design. I love that type of design because it gives more character to your page. The design looks something like this, where it gives that depth between the background and the picture. And I'm going to show you today how to create a website using this type of technique and getting this type of result at the end. So the first thing I want to do is I want to create some folders, and to do that I'm going to use my terminal. And you would see me use my terminal a lot when it comes to programming. I find if you're a programmer, you should utilize all of the tools to make things very easy for you. So if you're using a Mac, just open your terminal and let's create a folder to store our files. So the command to do this is mkdir and just give your file a name. So for this one, I would give the name design test, and I'm going to press enter, and then I want to cd into that same directory I just created. So to do that, you use the cd command. Actually, it's capital T. And the directory is not there, so cd t, and now we are into the directory. So let's open up that directory with Visual Studio, and to do that you just write code space dot and then you hit enter. Then Visual Studio will open, and once it opens, you click on yes, I trust the author. So now we are into the directory. Now let's go back to the terminal and let us create some files. We're going to use two files for this. So we're going to use index.html and the styles.css. Let's create the index.html. And to do this, we need the touch command. So touch index.html. If you look at the side, you would see the index.html file was just created in that folder. And then we also want the style.css. And here our style.css is just created. Let's get into the file and start some code. So I'm going to write exclamation enter, and we got a template ready for us. And inside the body, let's create a simple div. This is a container to hold the picture, or the container to hold our design. Inside our div, we want a h1, and it's just a simple header. In here, let us write web design test, and let's just give a simple navigation. And in here we want a UL, and inside of UL let's give it about 3 LIs. So in our LIs we want maybe a home and probably maybe a contact. And we also want, let's do about. This should be fine for the HTML itself. So let us save this and open it up in Chrome. So here we have just a simple website. Now let's go into style.css, and the first thing we want to do, star. The star is just means everything, or you can put body. So for that we want the margin 0, and we want padding 0 as well. Let's do box sizing, and for box sizing we want a border box. The background, let us use the body for this one. For the body, we want background color, and for background color, let's use the RGB. For the RGB, we want 240, 243, and also 243. So that's going to give like a whitish grayish color. Width is going to be 100%, and the height is going to be auto. Let's save it. So let's put the link style.css. Let's save this and let's go back. And you see here we have our design ready. What we want to do next is style our div, and for this div, let's give it a class, and we're going to call this class card or container. You can use whichever name you want. Let's save this and go back to CSS. Now let us style the div, and what we want to do here, what we want to do for this div is to give it a width and a height and center it in the middle of the body or the body of the web page. And the width we want to give is about 80%, and the height is also going to be 80% as well. And we want to move the div away from the parent. So what we're going to do for that, we're going to position, and we want the position to be absolute. And let us see how it looks now. Let's save this and pull up Chrome, and this is what it looks like now. So we still here, we didn't give the div a color yet. So actually, let me minimize this and do this so we can see this a little bit while we're writing. Let us style this div here with the card class. So let's go back here and dot card. Let's do a background color just to see, and let's save it. And you would see, now you see that the div is, we styled the div to be 80% width, so that's the width of the div, and 80% height. Let us actually put the navigation inside of the div. Let's drag this, bring this here, and let us press save. Let's get back to CSS and let's position this div in the center. The top is going to be about 10%. So you see, bring it down a little, and the bottom is going to be 10% as well. Good. So the top is 10%, the bottom is 10%. And let's move it to the right 10%. And to the left 10%. And good. Perfect. There are other ways to center your div, but for this tutorial I just want to show the neumorphic design. Instead of using the blue, let us use a picture instead. And I have a picture, I think it's called Black Mac, I think. Yes, Black Mac. And we're going to use this picture and put it here. So let's go back into CSS and let us use the image instead of background color. And we will, you got this, let's save it. And you would see this image show up here, but because the picture is big, it looks wide. So let's make the picture a little bit smaller so it can fit in the div. And to do that, we want no background repeats. It's going to be no repeat. We want background size and we want it to cover. Let's save, see what we got. Okay, now we have our picture. Good. And let's open it up. This is our picture. Let us style the nav bar. We want the LIs. And for this, let's take off the dots. List style type. And we want none for that. The bullets are gone. And we want it to float right. Let's save and see what happened. Let us give a padding. So we want padding right. And for padding right, we want about 20 pixel. How does 20 pixel look? Probably 30 pixel. Okay, 20 pixel is fine. And we want the font weight for that. Let's make it bold. Let us rotate this H1 so it can be vertical. We want to style the div, and in the div we want the H1. So that is here. So this div, I want the H1 that is inside of that div. So the first thing we want to do before we rotate this thing is position absolute. So we can move it, and we want the top to be about 50%. Okay, so now it's in the center, and we're going to use transform to turn this thing around. And then we want rotate, and let's rotate 90 degrees. So we rotate 90 degrees. Let's save it, and there you go. So now we have all of that. The last thing left for us to do is to design this little thing right here. We want box shadow, and for box shadow, let's put this on a different line because it is kind of long. So we want 0, and let's give it about 14.8 pixel. Then we want 4.2 pixel, and we want the RGB, and inside of the RGB we're going to put 0. Actually, let's delete all of this. So we want 0, 0, 0, no, comma 0, and then a next comma, and we want 0. We want 0.034. So 0.034, that's for the first one. So let's save this and see how it looks. Okay, so you see now we get a little shadow at the bottom. Let's remove this. Let's save it. See, the shadow is gone. So let's put back the shadow, Control Z, and watch carefully at the bottom where where the mouse is moving. So let's save it and watch at the bottom. You see now a shadow came. That's not all. We still have a little bit more to go to make it look like it's off from the background. So we're going to do the same thing. 0, 11.7 pixel, or probably 11.8. Let's do 11.7. Let's give 7, about 7.3 pixel, and we also want the RGB, and let's delete all of this inside of the RGB. And inside of the RGB, we want 3 zeros, 2, 3, and we want 0.048. And let's see how this look now. Just let's look at the bottom, save it. Let's do a next set of values. So for this one, we want 0. This time we want 12.5 pixel, 10 pixel. We also want RGB. And we still want our 3 zeros. And for this line, we want 0.06. Let's see how this look now. Okay, perfect. And let's do a next line. We want 0 again. And this time we want 22.3 pixels, 17.9 pixels. And we want our RGB, and inside we want our 3 zeros as well. For this one, let's put a value of 0.072 or 73. Any one of them would work. You can play around with the values as much as possible, but I find these values work better for me if I'm doing like a light gray color. If you want a colored color or colored shadow, you can move around the RGBs and get whatever color you want. But I like the dark grayish type of color. So let's do another one to give it a little bit more details. And we want 0. We want 41.8 pixel and 33.4 pixel for this one. We also want our RGB. And inside our RGB, we want 3 zeros. And for this value, let's use 0.086. Let's see how this one looks. Perfect. So now we're getting there to this little background. Let's do one more value, 0, 100 pixel and 80 pixel. And we want our RGB. And inside this RGB, let's put the values 0, 0, 0, and 0.012. Actually, let's do 0. No. Let me see how 0.02 looks. Okay, that's not bad. Let's remove this 0. Let's do 0.12. Okay, I like this better because this 0 give it a wider shadow. Instead of having this sharp background, let us make it a little bit round using the border radius. So let's give it about 10 pixel. So that's how you give your web design a little bit more character. The point of the video is not to create any type of fancy looking website. The point was to show you how to do the neuromorphic web design, and I really do like this type of web designs. There is also glass morphic, I think it is, and the next tutorial I will show you guys how to do that, and I hope you guys enjoy it. So thank you guys so much for watching this tutorial, and please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video as much as possible.